If you're feeling a little heavy on top, sit right down and let us go to work. It's buzz cut night inside the San Jose Arena. Who's that? Bryant Reeves from behind, maybe Chris Mullen. Everybody's going to get a buzz cut tonight, whether you're on press table or way up top in the mezzanine section of the San Jose Arena. It's the Warriors and the Vancouver Grizzlies. Jim, looking pretty good on top. We'll leave you just the way you are. You were in the Army, so you know the feeling, right?
I certainly know it. I'm surprised you didn't go and get a free ticket.
No, I like it the way it was right now. Greg Papa, Jim Barnett, welcome to an evening of Warriors basketball on Sports Channel. The Warriors are halfway through precisely, Jim, year number 2 of the Rick Adelman, Dave Twardzik era, and a little bit behind last year's pace when they won 36 and barely missed out on the playoff spot. So far, they have won 16 games and lost 25. And I think if you had to pick out one word on the first 41 games of the season, it would be inconsistent play.
Yes, they have been inconsistent. They can be very good. They can also be very poor, and there are reasons for that. Strength, they've got guys that can shoot the ball, and if they get out in the open court and run, they can score. But they don't get out in the open court very much because they're not a good rebounding team. And very inexperienced along the front line with the exception of Felton Spencer. No go-to guy at the low block except for Joe Smith. So you're limited there. And this has caused a lot of problems, and they're just not beating good basketball teams. They've got to get more consistent and beat those, plus 500 teams in the second half.
Well, all that being said, they still stand a very good chance to make the playoffs, even with a record of 16 and 25 on pace to win 32 this year. They're only a half game behind the 8th and final playoff spot. We sat down with Rick Adelman earlier, and we asked him, is that your goal this year, to get these guys into the postseason?
Well, I think that's what it has to be your goal, is to try to make the playoffs. And we are right now, we're half a game out of them, even though we have not played as consistently as we'd like. We've had our moments, and what I'd like to see us do is get that consistency. I think if we do that, we've got to beat teams like we play tonight. Tonight's game's a scary game for me. They beat us last time. There's no guarantees that we can walk down the floor and beat this team. We have to go out and show it. And then I think the really key for us for making the playoffs is trying to turn some things around against the better teams. We have to start beating some of those teams. And if you beat some of those teams, now you really kind of make a step. Because I think Minnesota's done that, and they've kind of moved ahead. The Clippers just won the other night against Seattle. We have to do that. If we really are going to have a chance for the playoffs, we have to start continue to beat, the other teams on a consistent basis and get some wins against the better teams.
Warriors will have their chance to be 2 of the NBA's best. Seattle and Chicago will be in on Wednesday and Friday nights, Jim. But tonight, the Vancouver Grizzlies. And, in fact, they're having such a poor second year overall in the NBA. They've already made a coaching change, despite the fact they have Sharif Abdul-Rahim, one of the top rookies in the NBA this year, Jim. They're 2 games behind last year's pace when they won 15. So Brian Winters is out, and Stu Jackson is the new interim head coach.
Well, Stu felt that Brian Winters had simply lost the basketball club. He doesn't have unnecessary expectations that they're going to get into the playoffs, but he would like them to play tougher and play tougher defense. He felt they weren't doing that.
Stu Jackson has done a good job with the draft the last couple of years. Abdul-Rahim this year, and of course 2 years ago he took Big Country Reeves with the number 6 overall pick. The Grizzlies are 8 and 36. The Warriors are 16 and 25. We're back with the tip, but out of this break, it's Brian Weber inside the studios.
Golden State Warriors basketball on Sports Channel is brought to you by Chrysler. Take a test drive at your Northern California Chrysler Plymouth dealers today. By Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. By the
and final matchup, Roy Rogers, the power forward, starting for the injured George Lynch. And second-year center, Big Country, Bryant Reeves will start at center. In the backcourt, Lee Mayberry and Anthony Peeler. As we get a look at the Grizzlies starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. There is Stu Jackson, the head coach of the Vancouver Grizzlies. He was their president and general manager, still is. On Friday, he fired Brian Winters and took over as the head man. He coached their loss Saturday at home to Denver, beating a heartbreaker 83-82. This will be his second game as the interim coach of the Grizzlies. The Warriors lineup will have B.J. Armstrong and Latrell Sprewell in the backcourt. Up front, Chris Mullen, Joe Smith, and Felton Spencer. Rick Adelman's last game was Friday, of course, when they lost in L.A., out-rebounded 54-39, and beaten by the Lakers 114-97. Adelman's Warriors have beaten the Grizzlies 2 out of 3 times this year. The one time they lost, though, he vividly remembers, it was not too long ago. It was January the 8th right here in San Jose. It was probably Rick's most difficult of the 225 losses he has suffered in the NBA. Big Country Reeves had a good game that night with 21. Sharif Abdur-Rahim had 34. And that really turned Big Country's season around, Jim. He was playing very badly heading into that game, but the last couple of weeks he has played remarkably better.
January 11th, he scored 30 points in Sacramento. Over the last month in January, averaging over 15 a game, shooting 49% and just under 9 rebounds. You know, the difference is he's in shape. They tell me he was not in shape early part of the season.
As good as he has been, this has been their best player. Sharif Abdur-Rahim having a glittering rookie year. He's their top scorer, better than 16 points a game. He had 34 against the Warriors back on January the 8th, a game the Grizzlies won at 109-95. The Warriors got revenge the next night in Vancouver, holding Sharif down to 17 points. Joe Smith had 38 in the first matchup. Actually, the middle matchup of the three, but the first of back-to-back that they had January the 8th and 9th. Joe had 16 of the 38 in the fourth quarter. The big difference in the next game was that Chris Mullen returned. He only played 2 minutes in the previous game. Derek Stafford, our lead official, along with Bob Delaney and Jim Kinsey. The Grizzlies are 8-36. They have lost 4 in a row and 14 of their last 16. Warriors beginning the second half of the season, they won 16 of their first 41 games. Warriors win the tip, and they go first with B.J. Armstrong being defended by Lee Mayberry. Mullet and Abdur-Rahim, always a good matchup. Warriors missing 2 tip-ins, and now the battle is won by Roy Rogers over the end line. Here comes Anthony Peeler, the former Laker. They go right into Big Country Reeves. Warriors double team him. Out to Peeler for a 3. And the rebound Joe Smith takes. The big reason the Warriors, they felt, Jim, were beaten here on January the 8th by this team. The inside presence of Abdur-Rahim and Big Country Reeves. Joe Smith the miss. Look for the Warriors to try to get the ball out of their hands very early tonight. And they double team Reeves. First time he caught it. Here's the second time. And now Mullen slides over to double. And Reeves misses.
Although he got to the position on the floor that he wanted.
Mullen around Abdur-Rahim is triple team. Somebody's open. That's somebody Sprewell, but they rotate back. Sprewell, they pull up bank.
Roy Rogers stepped out on the screen and basically overcommitted. He's got those bad knees. It's a little degeneration, and it's just been, it's a problem he's had since childhood. He was born with them. Even he told me before the game, even if he hadn't been an athlete, he would have had to have surgery. This ball's thrown away in the backcourt.
Ryan Reeves will race it down, but it will be an over and back as Abdur-Rahim and Reeves miscommunicate. Stu Jackson does not want the job next year. He made it very clear he is only the interim coach. And I think the big reason why he took the job was to go out on the bench in the locker room and check out these guys firsthand, because he is the guy that will make personnel moves for this franchise. He is their president and general manager. Sprewell pulls up and gives the Warriors a 4-0 lead.
That's a good medium-range pull-up for Spree. And those are the kind of shots that he can get all the time because people know his threat to the basket.
And those are the kind of shots that have been forgotten by most NBA players. Yes. Shot clock under 10.
That three-point line gives them a little excuse to stay out there, and then when they start driving, they take it all away.
Warriors were defending beautifully. Felton Spencer had him trapped way out there, and he's called for a foul by Jim Kinsey about 20 feet from the basket for Felton, his first foul of the game. Minnesota, of course, rapidly improving as an expansion team. Miami Heat are a solid team. Orlando has been a solid team. Now the recent wave of expansion, Jim, beginning to feel their real problems. Toronto had a good year last year. They're struggling this year. Armstrong throws it away, trying to slip it into Felton. Final in from Miami. They are all over the Phoenix Suns, 125-97. Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning combining for 41 points. Tim had 21. Abdur-Rahim for the right-hand putback.
Speaking of Hardaway, though, national television yesterday had a very tough shooting night for Day in the Garden at 4 for 17. Tim just could not hit from three-point range, only 2 for 8.
Here's the putback by Abdur Rahim.
He is just a very gifted athlete. You talk about that game where he scored 34. They were from all places on the floor. I mean, he just didn't make two shots from the same spot.
BJ had a big game in Los Angeles on Friday. Loose ball foul on Big Country Reeves as he knocked Joe Smith off balance trying to get the rebound. That's the first foul of the evening on Reeves, who has gone to the clean-shaven look. I don't know if he visited Schroeder's before the game. Get the flat top touched up. He's also taken off the mustache. Anthony Peeler with Springwell behind, still dunks with a left hand.
Peeler's having a good year. Had a good year for the Lakers. There's some salary cap, put him up here, but terrific three-point shooter.
Springwell got deep and then gave it up. And there's foul number, well, actually they're going to call it on Lee Mayberry. Left for a moment, it's going to be on Big Country Reeves, and it's debatable that it could have gone on Reeves, but Mayberry picks up his first foul. Mayberry once again starting at point guard with Greg Anthony playing off the bench. Speaking with Rick Adelman before the game, Jim, certainly Felton Spencer's help. There's no question about it, but Felton is a good foul thrower. And because of that, he's had to play Andrew DeClerc and Todd Fuller heavier minutes than he would have liked. And the lack of a post-up game really has hurt this team in far-reaching aspects.
It's hurt. The one individual that's hurt the most is Joe Smith. Because if he were having a post-up player with the threat that he had to double team, Joe would get many more offensive rebounds. And he's admitted that. He does miss even Ronnie Cycling.
Abdur Rahim getting better on that outside shot. Springwell, no foul, steps behind Peeler. Springwell looking to give it up tonight, gives BJ a three. Springwell gets the miss, feeds Mullen out of the corner. Latrell Springwell with two nice passes, but does not get an assist on either.
Well, the Warriors missing some pretty good, decent looks.
Dunked in by Roy Rogers. They have some real athletes on this team. They had a good draft last year, getting Abdur Rahim number 3 and Roy Rogers number 22 out of Alabama.
And Rogers has had some decent games offensively against the Warriors. Really a defensive player, in fact, averaging 4 blocks over the last 6 games. Real great shot blocker.
BJ again wide open. This one goes. BJ 1 for 3 from the floor. He had 20 points against the Lakers on Friday. Coming into the game, the last 7 of which he has started all 7. He's averaging about 12 points a game. His game has perked up lately. Mayberry beats him and feeds Roy Rogers. Rogers had 6 blocks in their last game Saturday in Denver, the loss. That was a career high. Didn't score a single point in that game. Jimmy comes out and gets a couple of putbacks, a putback and a dunk, and he has 4 here. DJ turns the corner easily on Mayberry and misses a little make of a shot, but Joe is there to clean up.
That ball was not near the rim. I mean, he took that out from behind his head and still got it down. A little bit of help from those collapsible rims.
5 minutes into this game, the Warriors leading 11-8. Abdur Rahim open. That's what the presence of a big guy who can score inside will do. Mullet leaving Abdur Rahim to help out on Reeves. Sprewell blocked by Rogers, his former college teammate. Abdur Rahim with Peeler. He'll take it himself, force one up.
Amazing he could even get near the rim with 3 or 4 defenders around him. He's got tremendous moves.
His ball handling has really improved from early in the year. Abdur Rahim blocked again, goaltending. Thing about Roy Rogers, he will block a lot, Jim, but he'll also go up and goaltend quite a bit. He wants to block every single shot.
Especially when he comes from the weak side. He came from the weak side a moment ago. Now he will come after the ball has hit the backboard, and that's why there's a goaltend on the call.
Warriors double, Big Country with Joe Smith this time. Rebound Joe Smith takes away, battling Rogers. Pretty well. A pull-up shot over Peeler. Peeler has a step, gets by Springwell, lost the ball, out of bounds. Just could not handle it after beating Springwell. Timeout. Adelman, Warriors up 5 midway through the first quarter. Be our next broadcast here on Sports Channel when the highly surprising Atlanta Hawks will pay their annual visit Although Atlanta has been an impossible team to beat at home nearly, they have been rather mediocre on the road. We'll check them out on Tuesday.
We've seen a couple of follow-ups tonight, one by Abdur Rahim, another by Roy Rogers. BJ misses this one. Watch Joe Smith as he catches with two hands, not blocked off the boards. Roy Rogers went out to help on BJ. He's gone out to try to show and stop the penetration after a screen on two occasions, and he's missed the guy both times. One time it was BJ, previous time it was Freewell. That's where Joe Smith can take Roy Rogers out on the floor and do some damage.
And the Warriors should be able to out-rebound this team. This is the worst rebounding team in the NBA, the Vancouver Grizzlies, out-rebounded by more than 7 per game by average. They've been out-rebounded in 33 of their previous 44 games.
And they're also outscored by over 11 points per game.
Spencer tips that out of bounds, and the ball will go to Vancouver. That's a dead ball team rebound.
Greg, if the Warriors had any kind of percentage at all, they had good looks at the basket. They still got a 5-point lead. This could be something like 22-8 rather than 13-8.
BJ's missed some open shots. He's 1 for 5 to open the game. Anthony Peeler, well done, and Bryant Reeves scores. Bryant Reeves has really improved his game since early in the year. Anthony Peeler, you have to respect his outside shooting ability, and he was double, and he got it into Reeves. As you mentioned, Reeves is in much better shape than he was in November.
Yes, he is. He's got a lot of confidence right now. He's been playing so well the month of January. 6 double-doubles in the last 9 games, I believe.
All on Roy Rogers. You mentioned the young man's knee problems. But the word was the Warriors were looking to explore Roy Rogers as a draft possibility with their 11th overall pick, a pick, of course, that they ultimately used to draft Todd Fuller. But he didn't want to fly out here to visit the Bay Area in a coach's seat. He only would come out in a first-class seat because his knees are so bad, and the Warriors just have a policy. They don't fly people out, draft picks, and fly them first class like most teams do.
I talked to him about that before the game, and he kind of had a little gleam in his eye, like he was hoping to get picked by the Warriors. You see those braces on his knees. What he has is a problem on the outside of both knees where there was no cartilage between the bones, and he's had holes drilled in there, let blood come in, and a kind of artificial cartilage, if you will. That was February of '93 and then March of '94, both knees.
He's just 23 years of age. Peeler lost the ball. Mullen takes it. Warriors have numbers. Armstrong, Sprewell, Mullen, nicely done. 17-10, the Warriors lead.
You see, that's the point. I love that. The 3-on-2 became a 2-on-1 at the end, and that's why I always say make a 3-on-2 a 2-on-1. They had to make that extra pass.
Into Bryant Reeves again. The Warriors double him once again. Open is Lee Mayberry, well beyond the line. And Mayberry knocks it down. Mayberry not a big part of their offense. He's a decent three-point shooter at about 30%. Really does not look to shoot very much. Scores 5.5 points a game. Warrior lead down to 4 with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Joe Smith. What a move. Roy Rogers slipped. And now he's looking down in the lane. May have slipped on some perspiration, but I think Joe just spun him around.
They're making Sharif Abdur-Rahim a passer now, too. That's good defense.
He palmed the ball. BJ was looking to pick it up. The defender ran by, so he continued on through, and he came underneath the ball, traveling or palming on BJ.
A few minutes ago, a steal off of Anthony Peeler. Now watch Mullen get it over to the middle. To stop it right here. Sprewell's going to go here, Mullen's going to go here, and that becomes a 2-on-1, and BJ's just simply out of the play. It's much tougher to defend coming in from a 45-degree angle. That's why he gave the ball up.
Peeler misses. Bimbo Cole's now in for the Warriors, replacing BJ. Abdur-Rahim using his great length inside, able to shove it back in. Warrior lead down to 4 again. Abdur-Rahim is struck for 4.
I heard you on the radio today, and your two favorites in the draft are my two, Abdur-Rahim and Ray Allen from Milwaukee. I totally agree.
Joe Smith, not a bad guy from the class of 1995. Able to throw in the rainbow. Looking a little like Purvis Short. We'll talk about Purvis coming up later on tonight. 50 years, 50 stars choice. Anthony Peeler throws down a 3. Now, if the Warriors go after Abdul Rahim and Big Country Reeves, and it seems like they will, the next guy you have to worry about is Peeler, Jim, because he should have daylight to fire, and he can score.
Well, the game that the Vancouver Grizzlies won down here, Joe got poked in the eye, I believe, or somewhere. You know, back to Anthony Peeler, he scored 9 points in a little over a minute in that third quarter, which threw the game open for Vancouver.
Timeout called by Vancouver. Foul on Anthony Peeler. Busy week for the Warriors. Games tonight, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And Wednesday and Friday are the two big ones. Seattle and Chicago. Individual game tickets are on sale now. Don't miss Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, and the defending Western Conference champion Sonics. They'll be here Wednesday at 7:30. That'll also be the NBA at 50. Big nostalgia night here at the arena. Warriors will be wearing their retro uniforms from the 1970s. And there'll be a video feature on the league's 50-year history. Jim, Anthony Peeler's going to slap Joe right on the lip, it looks like. And Joe, without getting time out, just spins and drops the ball. And luckily, the referees went along with it.
The whistle wasn't blown until Joe walked off the court. Yeah, he took a chance there that he would get the call. His lower lip was hit by the hand of Anthony Peeler. Anthony Peeler made that 3 a moment ago. Last year with the Lakers, shot 41% from three-point range. He's about 38% this year. And you're right, the Warriors will have to close on him because he is a dangerous scorer when he gets going.
Greg Anthony is in. And he's now playing at point guard for the Grizzlies, replacing Lee Mayberry. There's a foul inside called on Big Country Reeves. That's his second of the game. It is Vancouver's 5th team foul of the first quarter. So the Warriors, with 2:11 to play in this quarter, enter the bonus. 2 more free throws for Felton Spencer. Felton made a couple of free throws earlier in the quarter. Put up those numbers in 22 minutes against the Lakers before fouling out guarding Shaq. Here's Pete Chilcutt, former North Carolina star. His first year with the Grizzlies. He's backing up at center these days, and Bryant Reeves will take the rest.
Interesting how a team will respond when a coaching change is made. I've been in that situation before. Now, some players, they realize there's new life, but when Stu Jackson is the interim coach, you're talking about the president and GM. So he makes personnel decisions. I would think these guys would come out and play real hard.
Nice play by Sprewell. Joe can't finish on the left side. Joe glaring at referee Derek Stafford. He felt he was fouled on the play. He was fouled on the play. Mullen, that's where Mullen's cleverness really hassles Abdul Rahim. What a play by Mullen. Mullen racing up the floor. And Bimbo will back it off. Sprewell, the pull-up shot. Looking for that a lot more tonight.
I don't believe he's attempted a three-point shot. He's just stepping inside the three-point line each time and pulling up.
Spree has hit 3 of 6 this quarter for 6 points. Warriors up by 7 now. There's Abdul Rahim blocked by Spencer. Chilcutt bobbled it away. Coles for Sprewell and Mullen. Goes to Mullen. Mullen the layup.
Yeah, he got the best of Anthony Peeler. A little show and a curl to the other side of the board.
Timeout called by Stu Jackson. A 20-second timeout for the interim coach of the Grizzlies. Stu has not been on a sideline since 1994 when he was the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. He has not coached in the NBA since the beginning of the 90-91 year, Jim, when he was the coach of the Knickerbockers.
Yeah, coached the Knicks that year and then 15 games of the next year. Good block by Spencer, and I like the way the ball squirted around and they got it out because, again, when the Warriors have the numbers, it's a big advantage in the open court for them. They know how to score. Stu, classy guy. When he got that job with the Knicks, he was only 33 years of age.
After being an assistant coach with Rick Pitino for a couple of years, he took over. 89-90, the Knicks won 45 games under Jackson's leadership. Then at 15 games into the next season, he was fired as the Knicks had a record of 7-8. Here's Greg Anthony, the former Knickerbocker, out to Peeler, and Peeler knocks it down. Anthony Peeler has put up 8 early shots. He has scored 7 points. Warriors lead by 7. 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Joe Smith against Abdul Rahim. Out to Sprewell. Boy, Mullen's getting open. Although, like VJ, he has missed some makeable shots in this first quarter. Chilcott playing hard, comes flying in, and here's one for Abdul Rahim, getting very deep. Here's the last play of the first quarter. Both teams have hit just 10 of their first 23 shots, under 44%. Boy, Foles blocked late by Roy Rogers.
You saw Mullen go underneath the rim a moment ago. Bimbo would have had an easy layup because Roy Rogers would not have been able to go through the rim to block that shot. I'm surprised he came back to the same side as the shot blocker.
Off the top of the backboard, but no for Sharif, and there's your first quarter of play. Stu Jackson in the second game as interim coach of the Grizzlies is in this one. At the end of 12 minutes, the Warrior lead is 5 at 27-22. Warriors lead the Grizzlies by 5. Second quarter going to begin in just a moment here, and Daniel Marshall will be entering the game when the second quarter commences. Well, everybody, the Warriors had their annual KNVR jam here on Saturday. Everybody was talking about Daniel Marshall on the radio and throughout the building. When is Daniel going to become a player is the $42.6 million question around this place. I sat down with Daniel recently and I asked him, is there too much pressure on you? Everybody wants you to be a player immediately.
Well, I think that's what it is. A lot of it, you know, I think they just want to see me get better, and they want to see me get better right away. Whereas, you know, right now with this situation that I'm in, it's probably going to take a little bit of time. You know, every time I talk to Coach Adleman or towards it, they always tell me it's probably going to be another 2 years or so before I actually become a fixture or a starter with this team. And, you know, sometimes I just think that's too long, but I think some of that's a lot of pressure from the people.
Well, that's certainly the territory when you're the number 4 pick in the NBA draft. We'll see how Daniel does tonight. Anthony Peeler matching up with Marshall.
And I find that difficult to believe a couple of years down the line.
Anthony knocks down a three-pointer. Greg Anthony, a very poor shooter, was the reputation during his Knick days. Played his first 4 years there, Jim. And he's become a decent outside shooter, a pretty good three-point shooter this year.
Well, 4 games ago, he was 6 for 7 from three-point.
Greg Anthony?
From the three-point line, yes. That was January the 20th. That was the same game, by the way, I believe, that Abdul Rahim had 37.
Warriors are playing. Team from Vancouver tonight. So are the Sharks up at GM Place, taking on the Canucks. So they made a big trade over the weekend. The Sharks. Roy Rogers is out. Blue Edwards checks in for the first time. Real good scorer, can play both big guard and small forward. Warrior lead is to Daniel Marshall. Going to put it on the floor, pull up and pop, and knock down his first shot of the game. Nice adjustment by Daniel.
And he could have gone left or right once his defender got up in the air. I love the matchup with Abdul Rahim and Joe Smith.
That means Abdul Rahim is playing power forward, and he's able to shovel it in. Pardon me, that was Anthony Peeler getting inside for the basket. Peeler has 9 points.
Still trying to figure out how someone lost Anthony Peeler under the basket.
You don't see a guard usually get that deep and that open. Joe Smith, no. Rebound tipped. Joe gets it again and misses. Pete Chilcott's playing effectively. Here's Peeler. Out to Blue Edwards. They have some scores on the floor now. Vancouver has tied the game at 29. The Warriors had an 9-point lead in that first quarter. Warriors are playing Bimbo Coles, Latrell Sprewell in the backcourt. Donald Royals now in with Daniel Marshall and Joe Smith. Traveling violation on Marshall.
You know, it's interesting you brought up 9-point lead in the first quarter because when the Warriors lost here, On January the 8th, they led by 9 at the end of one, 30-21. In the second quarter, got outscored 30-19.
And it was the bench that played particularly poor in that segment of the game. Abdul Rahim, the spin and the dunk, able to beat Joe surprisingly easily with quickness. A 13-2 Vancouver run, and Adelman has that look of concern on his face. Rick is very, very nervous about this game, as he was last time against Vancouver when they came to San Jose. He knows his team has to play hard here. Early in the second quarter, Vancouver has a 2-point lead. All right, Brian, everybody looking forward to next fall when the Warriors will be in the new Oakland Arena, and you'll have a chance to be inside one of these beautiful 72 luxury suites. These suites allow fans to view virtually all arena events in a plush yet comfortable atmosphere. For more info on the new Oakland Arena and their luxury suites, call 510-986-5300. Already got the reservations in for this young fan.
I was going to say, he can't afford the luxury suite, but maybe in the year 2018, somewhere along there, those luxury suites are going to be nice. And they're for all events. You've got to remember that, too. And I think maybe we can get into one of those luxury suites for some of the events that don't happen to be basketball, Greg.
Warriors also had big news today involving their practice facility. Groundbreaking today. We'll talk more about that at halftime. Bimbo Coles, a miss. Rebound, Danielle tipped. Goes right to Joe, and he dunks it. Abdul Rahim got a hand on it, but not enough to prevent Joe from jamming it.
That's one that you just say simply fell into your hands, because that was basically a turnover.
We are tied at 31. 3 minutes into the second quarter. Anthony Peeler has not yet taken a rest. He may be tired because he has now put up 10 shots, of which he has made 5. He has 11 points already. Will Smith missing Royal. Marshall picks it up, and Royal had a makeable shot again. He did not convert on. Here comes Abdul Rahim. Here's the element of his game he's picked up on. The end-to-end rush. He backs away, and Anthony pops. Abdul Rahim had a hard time putting the ball on the floor early, but now he can do it. Lou Edwards and Chilcutt. That's a charge here on Pete Chilcutt. Chilcutt, though, has played with aggressiveness, and that's the big reason why Vancouver has gotten themselves back into the game, Jim, and why they now have a hoop lead.
He's been very active. Now, Donald Royal just gets picked clean here by Blue Edwards. Donald missed an easy layup. Fortunately for Joe Smith, he atoned for the error by stepping in and picking up the charge, but Royal missed that easy layup. I thought it was the easiest shot of the game, quite frankly.
Sprewell and Joe have played the whole game so far, and now Coles, Royal, and Marshall are out there to join them. Donald Royal draws a foul on Anthony Blue Edwards.
Now, that was a good move. It's a little knack to come off the bench and be ready to play and just play with the same kind of intensity that people have already been out there for a while with. To do that, some people adjust, some people don't. Some people actually like that.
Warriors a big edge of the free throw line. Vancouver has been called for 7 fouls. The Warriors have been called for only 1 foul in this game. Felton Spencer picked it up back early in the game. Game tied at 33. Quick pass. Chilcutt again missing, but shoveling it in. Greg Anthony had an easier pass, tighter, decided to go deeper, and Chilcutt got himself free.
Chilcutt just out-hustling people right now.
Foul on the wing called on Greg Anthony. Anthony Peeler's going to leave, and Lawrence Moten checks in. Lawrence Moten had a good game in Stu Jackson's debut against Denver on Saturday at 9 points and 6 assists in 23 minutes. It was a heartbreaker. LaFonso Ellis ruined Jackson's coaching debut by tipping in a shot with less than 3 seconds to play to beat the Grizzlies by a point. Warriors offensively here just really stagnant. Bimbo Coles trying to create something. It's not going to be a good shot. Danielle will hoist it up, and he bricks it off the backboard. Lou Edwards all the way to the basket. basket. No basket. They call a violation on Vancouver.
You say the Warriors been a little stagnant in the offense. How about the defense? Let's watch this play and move it ahead right now. Now stop. I mean, you've got over here, Daniel Marshall has no idea where his defender is. That Chilcutt, or his offensive player is. He's just going to sneak down in there. This is what you call poor vision. Now, he missed the first one, but he got it right back. You've got to be more alert than that. You've got to see the ball and your man from the weak side.
That last Vancouver possession, Abdul Rahim was called for the loose ball foul, his first of the game. Moulton picks up the charge on Sprewell.
One of the weaker defenders in the league. Great offensive player. Been playing a little bit lately. Didn't see him early on this year.
Well, Stu Jackson's the coach, and Stu may want to take a look at Moulton. He drafted Moulton, of course, in his role as president and general manager. Chris Mullin going to come back in momentarily. Likewise, Ray Owes will check in for the first time. Owes has played well against Vancouver this year. Here's Abdul Rahim. He's trapped with nowhere to go. The clock's going to sound on him.
Yeah, that was just a bad decision. He took the ball to trouble. He was double-teamed at the outset.
Mullin returns. Ray Owes plays for the first time.
Which one you want?
Here's the entry pass from Moulton. Now, see, Joe's taking away the baseline. Now, Donald Royal comes over. Joe just kept moving his feet. They just had him snookered under the basket.
One guy was there. Here we go. Now we're set.
Abdul Rahim was going to leave the game. They're not going to allow that player change. They're only going to allow Mullin to come into the game, so Owes and Rogers must play to enter. They are midway through this second quarter. First quarter was much more entertaining. The second quarter has been a real drag here. Sprewell pulls up. He's tried that shot time and time again tonight. In fact, all three of Sprewell's baskets have come on the pull-up jumper. Anthony. Out to Blue Edwards. Into Chilcutt. Vancouver's moving the ball.
But Chilcutt can shoot it.
He was a part of a championship club with the Houston Rockets and played quite a bit during their first championship. And after playing with the Rockets last year, he was traded this past summer. Joe Smith knocks it down. Vancouver 37, the Warriors 35. Joe has a game-high 12 points. Greg Anthony was in the final year of his contract. Out to Blue Edwards. Royal guarding Anthony. Big step.
Royal just put both hands on the ball. It was a wrestling match for Anthony. By the time he regained part of it, it went up through the bottom of the net.
Fouls on Greg Anthony, his second foul of the game.
Stu Jackson played at the University of Oregon, played forward, averaged 10 points a game over the last 3 years. Part of that Kamikaze Kid group.
He's a highly intelligent young man and certainly well-spoken.
Another member of that team is here tonight, another coach, Ernie Kent, who's having a great year out of St. Mary's.
Shot clock down again. Mullin forcing one up. Rayo's racing it down. Sprewell up over Chilcutt for three. Sprewell's first three-point attempt of the game goes.
They needed that. Things have not looked good. They gave them a 1-point lead here, but they need something to build on to take it into halftime. I think Rick's going to be pretty upset with this group.
Well, he and I chatted before the game, and we talked about inconsistency and why it happens on both ends of the floor, and everything we talked about is materializing in this first half. The Warriors just don't have any way to get themselves righted offensively by throwing the ball into someone and just creating a mismatch, a double team, and kicking it out. And at times, this club offensively has just looked scattered. More so when they go to the bench, Jim. But it has continued now, even though Mullin's back into the game and Sprewell remains out there. They just have no flow to their offense. Rogers will show glimpses of offense, but not a real consistent player. Pete Chilcutt has been the best player on the floor in this second quarter. And he's not the most talented, I'll guarantee you that. Rayo's up over Rogers. Warriors go up 40-39. Warriors have scored just 12 points in the first 8 minutes of this quarter. Gilcutt sets a pick. Now they're going to try to create a mismatch. He's being guarded by Bimbo Coles. Moten trying to get the ball into him. Coles fronts him, so Moten fires a three. That didn't go well. Royal is fouled by Lawrence Moten. Eric Mobley is in for Vancouver, and that's a story. He hardly ever plays.
This wasn't a bad shot by Moten because Sprewell never really went in, but he gave him enough room to see from the outside, and Moten is a prolific scorer. That's his mentality, is to shoot the basketball.
By bringing Eric Mobley in, Jim, they have bypassed Bryant Reeves. Normally he would be back into the game already by now. We have less than 4 minutes to go in the first half. Bryant appears to be physically fine. Played 10 minutes in the first half and had just one basket in 3 attempts. Did pick up a couple of fouls, but bringing him back here would not be a major roll of the dice. We're not yet to halftime. Warriors up 3, 42 to 39. Warriors scored 4 points off the bench, all from the free throw line. Trying to post Roy Rogers here. He gets deep and he's fouled. Donald Royal. That'll put Rogers on the free throw line. These will be Vancouver's first free throw attempts in the game. The Warriors have made all 10 of their free throw attempts. Well, the Warriors are at the halfway point of the year. The Pac-10 season reaches the halfway point as Cal goes head-to-head with number 15 Stanford live from Harmon this Wednesday. That should be a lively game. We'll have that game 7:30 Wednesday night right here on Sports Channel.
Revan Knight,
he's good.
Yeah, so is Ed Gray for California.
Mullen to Sprewell. Sprewell had the position and bobbled the ball. Still scores. 44 to 41. Sprewell has 11. Joe Smith has 12 for the Warriors. Blue Edwards pops over Mullen. Mullen the rebound. Mullen goes right, takes the ball from Coles. 46 to 41 Warriors.
That's simply a matter of taking what the defense will give you. Mullen had a chance to drive along perhaps, but didn't want to force it. And for him, a terrific shooter, just stops and pops.
13 to 4, Warrior run. Stu Jackson calls the Vancouver timeout. Warriors have a 5-point lead with 3 minutes to go in the half. Here's tonight's Warriors 50 Years, 50 Stars selection presented by the San Francisco Examiner, the afternoon paper. The rainbow jump shot of Purvis Short out of Jackson State, one of the classiest Warriors of all time, and he wound up as their 7th leading scorer in franchise history. In the mid-'80s, Jim, he simply was one of the most unstoppable performers at the small forward position in the entire NBA.
In successive seasons, averaged 21-4, 22.8, 28 points a game. In 84-85, he was 4th in the NBA in scoring. That year, he scored 57 points in a game. I'll tell you what, it was difficult to get to that shot because of that high arc. They call it the rainbow jumper. And the defender didn't bother him at all. He would just go up and arch and shoot right over you. One of the great shooters in the game.
Warriors with a 5-point lead. Late in this opening half, we'll check back in with Bryant. Coming up at halftime, we'll run down most of what's going on around the country. We'll tell you that Hardaway had 21, Alonzo Mourning 20 as Miami routed the Phoenix Suns. Foul again called on Donald Royal, his 2nd of the game. With Phoenix continuing to sputter, Jim, the Warriors are in pretty decent shape to still eke out enough victories in the second half of this year to make the playoffs.
Yep, they're going to be right there along with the Clippers.
Minnesota, Sacramento. I think the team really pay attention to is Phoenix, though. When Jason Kidd gets back, they could take off a little bit. But just, they've been very inconsistent.
Yes, they have. I do think they will take off and make the playoffs with ease, quite frankly. And
Royal got inside of Rogers.
That's why the Warriors have to pick up their game, and they've got to get, they've got to get a different mental attitude and understand that You know, you go against a team and you get down by 10, even in the second half. They need to win a couple of those games to prove themselves that they can win.
Royal. Again, the Warriors' Rayos races down the miss. Sprewell lost it on the way up. Lou Edwards. Oh, they lost the ball, Vancouver. And Mullen misses the three. Moten lost it again, but this one's going to be a foul on Latrell Sprewell. Shot after shot after shot, and the Warriors were working hard, getting offensive rebounds. They just could never put the ball in the hole.
That's been a problem tonight.
Tell you the importance of this game. Sprewell has not yet rested. He has played the first 22 minutes of the game. Vancouver's hit 19 of 40. The Warriors 17 of 41, and they've had makeable shots. Rogers good looking to Mobley. Lost the ball. He was fouled. Vancouver into the penalty. They'll put Mobley on the free throw line. Foul is called on Rayos. Or pardon me, Chris Mullet.
Mobley is not a good free throw shooter.
Let's find out. 56% on the year. It's the other
In fact, I'm surprised you don't have this memorized throughout his career. Remember, he was a number 18 pick for Milwaukee.
He is now. Ooh, you're not kidding.
Ooh.
46% career. Those were ugly. Warriors still with a 2-point lead. Mobley was given a starting job in the middle when Bryant Reeves was out to injury earlier this year. Just could not score enough. He's a good defender and rebounder, but he just has nothing on the offensive end. Part of the reason Milwaukee traded him. Sprewell. 13 for Sprewell in the first half. Joe Smith has 12, Mullen 8. Not a lot else, though.
And Sprees have all been off one-on-one moves, just creating in himself. I really think for this team to succeed, they've got to get something in the flow of the offense.
Rayos almost threw it away. Bimbo Cole saves the turnover. Bimbo to Joe. Blocked by Moten, trying to save it. He could not. Lawrence Moten could not save that. Warriors will keep the ball with 52 seconds to play in the first half. I'll tell you one thing about Lawrence Moten. He's playing a lot harder on the defensive end than we have seen him play previously.
That's what I said about changing coaches and making that change. Like you say, the guy that's coaching now is the same guy that drafted him, so he wants to excel.
And he's the same guy that can cut him or wave him. Lawrence Moten actually is in the final year of his contract already, although he's only in his second NBA season. He will be a free agent at the end of this year. Sprewell anticipated and threw it right away. He had grandiose plans with that steal.
Yeah, he was going out of bounds. He just threw it up towards the middle. Not a bad place to choose.
Mayberry. Rebound, Joe. Nice reach by Joe Smith. Rick Allen points up, says play for one. Let's get out of here with at least a 6-point lead, maybe 8 or 9 at halftime. We'll head back inside the studios, check in with Bryant. And Jim and I will come out here. We'll talk about All-Stars. We'll give you our Western and Eastern Conference reserves. They're going to be named tomorrow in the NBA. The starters were announced yesterday. I'll also tell you about the groundbreaking on the Warriors' new practice site and executive offices that occurred today.
40,000 square feet, I believe.
58,000
wow.
square feet. You kid, you can put a mansion.
That's huge.
40 to 58,000. That is big. I wonder how big your office will be. At least 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, right? Well, I'll tip my hand a little bit now, Jim. I'm going to put Sprewell on the All-Star team. What do you think?
Here's Moten late. Maybe the shoe in. See, Moten committed the foul on Sprewell, but it gave him enough time for him to come back and score.
Bimbo Coles will not have enough time to get a good shot. And there's your first half of play here. Warriors get 15 from Sprewell, 12 from Joe, and 8 from Mullen, but other guys sputter, and their lead at half is only a half dozen over the Vancouver Grizzlies. Grizzlies halfway through this one. Warriors shot only 42%, but they do have the 6-point lead. Greg Papa, Jim Barnett back with you at the San Jose Arena. Latrell Sprewell led the first half, all scores, Jim, with 15 points. I think it's safe to say Spree tomorrow will be named to his third All-Star team in the Western Conference. In fact, if you missed it over the weekend, on Super Bowl Sunday, the NBA announced their starters for the All-Star game this year in Cleveland. Doug Collins will coach the East, Rudy Tomjanovich the West, and I have no beef with any of these guys. The one guy, I think nationally it's being hit a little bit, is Penny Hardaway because he was injured, Jim, but clearly he's one of the best players in the NBA.
He is one of the best players, but they've got to pick the team. Of what you've done in the past, I would not have voted him in, but of course the starters are all voted in by the fans, and you can't control that.
Here's what we feel, Jim and I feel, as far as the guys off the bench. Keep in mind, tomorrow they're going to name 2 forwards, 2 guards, 1 center, and 2 bonus players. It will be a vote of all the Western and Eastern Conference coaches. So what do you think? In the West, we are leaving off people like Clyde Drexler, Chris Gatling, Kevin Garnett, and Kenny Anderson. I think that was the big debate we had, whether to take Detlef Schrempf or Kenny Anderson. We chose ultimately Dead.
Well, Seattle has a great team. They've been to the finals. Kenny Anderson hasn't shown that he can be consistent, but he is having an excellent year, and he is a viable candidate. You look back at the East, it's very difficult to leave off Glenn Rice for Charlotte, but I really think Anthony Mason is the big cog in that wheel, and Dave Cowens is doing an excellent job. But I like Glenn Rice a whole lot.
I think the big debate that I had personally was Chris Webber or Anthony Mason. Chris Webber is having his best year in the NBA, stayed healthy throughout the entire first half of the year, and they may find a way to get Webber into the game because the fans like to see a player like Webber. But again, how do you take Anthony Mason off the team?
And how do you take Mutombo off the team because the way Atlanta's played, they're 19-1 at home. You don't always have to have you know, a big guy in there. They can move another big guy and say he's the center. But Christian Laettner's having an excellent year, too.
No, I think you got to take Mutombo and Laettner because the Hawks have played so well. That'll come up tomorrow. Today, big news around the Golden State Warriors franchise. This morning, team owner Chris Cohan and Oakland Mayor Elihu Harris led the groundbreaking on the team's new practice site and executive offices above the parking garage at the Oakland Convention Center.
We are going from probably the facility the least adequate to the best in the NBA. And I can honestly say that because I know it's the most expensive in the NBA. So I'm convinced this is now the best. This is nearly 60,000 square feet, and this is, in my mind, a big step to building a championship team, and that is the facility that we can offer our players.
And this, the era of NBA free agency, Jim, when anybody can leave after just 3 years in the NBA. This is a monumental step the Warriors are taking because teams are going to have to use that type of thing to lure players to come. Players like nice practice facilities, and that's a big key element for the Warriors.
And now I'm going to get you out to consistent workouts, too.
Let's go. When you take me by your 4,000 square foot office, I'll come work out with you if you come get a haircut with me. And here's the way I want you to look, Jim. Here we go. Line it up. The barbershop Schroeder's down here in the South Bay, offering a little strange promotion with Bryant Reeves in town, and of course Chris Mullin. You can get a Mully haircut tonight. You get 2 free tickets to the game. Step on up. Let's see how they look. That could be you.
Yeah, I know. As you mentioned earlier, I had this in the Army. We'll leave it to the fans coming in, but it takes a lot of guts to take off that much hair.
I think it's going great. Personally, to be honest, I'm very surprised by the turnout. We've got a lot of people. I kind of wish we had, twice as many chairs so we can accommodate everybody, but I think everyone's really happy. Everyone's got a great new look.
Well, I wanted to come see the game. I haven't seen the Warriors before. We've been thinking, since they're playing down here in San Jose, that we should go see a game this year. And when I heard I could get some free tickets and a free haircut all in one package deal, couldn't pass that up.
Because Chris Mullin's an all-star player, and he's real exciting, and he's a great athlete.
That is actually Scott Pruneau of the Warrior basketball staff in charge of all their scouting and videotape work. A lot of the people from the office. Mully didn't need any touch-up. He's looking just fine. Chris had 8 points in the first half. Joe Smith 12 and Spree 15. We'll come back and show you some of the first half highlights and numbers. Warriors lead the Grizzlies by 6 halfway through. Warriors fought their way for 52 points in that first half, but at times the offense really was grinding the gears as we take a look at some of the first half highlights, Jim, brought to you by Chrysler. The Warriors miss Mark Price right now because that's a big offensive weapon they are now lacking.
Yeah, they're just not shooting the ball very well from the outside at all. And you look at the point guards tonight. Bimbo Coles comes in off the bench, plays 15 minutes. That's the only basket he scored. BJ in a starting role was very cold from the floor. Did hit a three-pointer, but those combined for 5 points as opposed to the Vancouver Grizzlies. And then off the bench, it only got worse. You look at Pete Chilcutt, now in his 7th year, his 4th team. He is a good outside shooter. Points off the bench for Vancouver, 16 to 10 for the Warriors. I thought Ray Owens off the bench only scored 1 basket, but in 6 minutes he mixed it up in there and managed 3 rebounds. The Warriors did out-rebound the Grizzlies. As you mentioned, the Grizzlies, worst rebounding team in the league. BJ misses. Nobody blocks off Joe Smith inside. He had a couple of dunks. Joe Smith has taken 11 shots, as has Sprewell. You can see that rebound total, 25 to 18, and the Warriors have 9 offensive rebounds.
Warriors being led by their 3 stars, Sprewell, Smith, and Mullen, as they did almost all of the offensive damage in that first half, combining for 35 of the Warriors' 52 points.
And another huge factor, the free throws, Greg. The Warriors 12 for 12. They didn't shoot well against the Lakers, only 70% the other night. The Grizzlies have only attempted 5 free throws, making 3, so that has been a difference. I just it lacks some energy. I can't put my finger on it, but I do know this. If you let a team hang in, they can gain momentum, gain confidence, and that's exactly what happened the last time these two teams met here on January the 8th, and the Grizzlies just took over the second half.
Although the Warriors did a much better job defending tonight than they did in that game. They really let Bryant Reeves get wherever he wanted, and Abdul Rahim, without Mullen available to play. Remember, Chris got poked in the eye, the left eye, by Sharif 2 minutes into that game. Abdul Rahim had 37 and Reeves had 21. The Warriors have made a real effort to limit their effectiveness. Anthony Peeler has led them in scoring. Yeah. He's the beneficiary of the Warriors swarming Reeves and Abdul Rahim.
Big Country only played 10 minutes. Like you said, they brought in Mobley in that second quarter, did not bring back Bryant Reeves.
Here's a foul on Chris Mullen very early in the second half for Chris's second foul of the game. Chris playing up front with Joe Smith and Felton Spencer. The backcourt is B.J. Armstrong and Latrell Springwell. B.J. did not shoot the ball well in the first half. Missed several open shots. Was 1 for 5 in total.
And 4 of those attempts, though, were from three-point range. Only 1 of his attempts came out inside the line.
Roy Rogers with the miss. Vancouver starting Mayberry in the backcourt with Peeler up front. Abdul Rahim, Rogers, and Bryant Reeves. That's a young front line. Springwell gets it down. He has 17 points.
Well, this is a young team. They need to be taught. They need to be motivated. You know, Brian Winters, classy guy, great integrity. That's almost traveling.
Referee Derek Stafford saying he kept a foot down. Bryant Reeves foul. And Felton only a second of the game.
Ironic, while the NBA Grizzlies are down here tonight, the Vancouver Canucks and the San Jose Sharks are up in Vancouver. And they've got a new goalie, right?
Eddie the Eagle, Ed Belford from the Chicago Blackhawks. Actually, the Sharks were just in Vancouver not too long ago to make up a snowed out game. They had a terrible blizzard when the Sharks were in Vancouver earlier in the year. Big Country just 3 points tonight. When he scores 20 or more, Vancouver, throughout their brief history, has had a much higher winning percentage. Keeping him down is a big step towards beating this team. Sprewell, big step, and he's fouled slipping out the right side. Fouled by Roy Rogers. Spree and Roy were very good friends together at Alabama.
Now watch Spree's move out here. Let's watch his feet. He's got a really be careful and plant that pivot foot. Sometimes he gets so anxious to take off. He's got such spring. Sometimes he picked up that pivot foot.
Roy Rogers said, my work ethic came from Latrell Sprewell. He said, I saw this guy work out the entire summer before his junior year. He couldn't hit a jump shot at all, but he worked so hard to become a better shooter. That's when Rogers was a freshman.
Well, Roy Rogers never scored much until a senior. He averaged 13.5 as a senior, but before that he's averaging 3 and 4 points a game. But as soon as Antonio McDyess went to the NBA, he got a chance to blossom in Alabama.
Let's see how he does here. Not much of a post game. Abdur-Rahim from way outside, beating the clock, but not making the shot. Warriors are up 9. This match is their largest lead of the game. They had a 9-pointer in the second quarter. Out of bounds off of Joe. Roy Rogers able to get that turnover. Here comes Peeler. All the way to the basket. Does not get the bank. Abdur-Rahim a couple of tips and a basket.
Offensive skills. A nose for the ball. He is going to be a 25-point per game scorer consistently later on.
Like he is.
Yes.
Spree already has 22 points tonight. He's made 2 of 3 beyond the line. Warriors now with a 10-point lead. Nice catch by Abdur-Rahim. He gave Rogers an open shot. Stu Jackson says in time he's going to make other players better on this team. And he gets the vision like he's developing now and the passing skills. Joe spinning, and he is being held and fouled by Roy Rogers once again. Rogers' 3rd foul of the game.
Now watch the pass of Mullen. Beautiful bounce pass, and he just put a little spin on it to get around the man and yet curl back into Joe's hands. He has all the angles.
So easy, but so beautiful to watch. Just wrapping it around with a perfect bounce. Joe lost the ball trying for that same spin. Takes the fade. Rebound Bryant Reeves takes away from Felton Spencer.
Another great pass by Mullen because the defense wasn't looking. He's always looking at the basket and taking advantage of someone who may be vulnerable. If Joe had caught that cleanly, he had an easy one.
I don't believe the Warriors need to double Roy Rogers. Vancouver wanted to check it out. Peeler, hard shot, rebounded by Joe Smith. Here comes B.J. Armstrong. Trying to stretch out this 10-point lead. Look at B.J. give it right to Sprewell, and he works it off the ball.
Yeah, B.J.'s really playing the off guard. And Sprewell's handling the ball this quarter.
Joe Smith able to slip it inside. And Stu Jackson will stop it with a timeout.
They've been working to get Smith the ball. He finally converts here.
Pretty good combination. Sprewell dumping it into Joe. Now the Warriors have a 12-point lead.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
We'll have Cal versus Stanford, the men on Wednesday from Harmon, and we'll have the women on Friday at 7:30. Number 3 ranked Cardinal led by Kate Starbert. They've won 34 in a row in the Pac-10. Warriors had a lead of 6 at halftime. It is now up to 12 as they have really defended beautifully in this 3rd quarter. Into Big Country Reeves. Only 3 points for Big Country so far tonight. Make it 5. Nice shot.
With that weight, he can come into a guy and just get a little push and then fade away. And he's pretty confident in that fadeaway jump shot along the left baseline.
Although Stu Jackson would like to see him, Jim, lose a lot of that weight. He says if he ever got the work ethic like Chris Mullen. Hold on a minute here. Was that Felton Spencer doing that?
Now, when have you seen Felton Spencer step outside and arc a jump shot?
Oh, he's going to guard Reeves. He wanted to get even on Reeves. Reeves doubled. Reeves too late getting rid of the double team. Armstrong was Sprewell's hand, takes it himself. Roy Rogers was there. Anthony Peeler's going to dunk it. 3 blocks for Rogers.
But I'll tell you, unpardonable sin. BJ takes it in. They had a fast break going. All 5 guys don't have to go past half court. You've got to have a protector on defense.
Warrior lead is 10. Looked like it was 12, going to become 14, maybe 15. Big play. Joe misses, Reeves the rebound. Jackson would like Reeves to get a Chris Mullin type work ethic and a Chris Mullin type body. Missed 3, rebounded Joe Smith. He feels if he can get that kind of tone on the body and that kind of conditioning, he could become a very good offensive player. 3-second violation on Joe Smith, no basket. He was open for so long. Finally, Bob Delaney said too long.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating for Rick. Sprewell just did not have an angle. He couldn't throw it through people to get it to him. It was a very quick 3, by the way. That was a real quick 3. We couldn't tell by that replay.
No, we didn't know how long he was in there for.
Regulation time was counted very quickly.
Reeves doubled. Blue Edwards now into the game. Out to Peeler. Ball tipped. Sprewell and Peeler bang. Foul called on Anthony Peeler.
You know, the spirit of the rule and the law, they came up with a 3-second violation to prevent, you know, a guy like Wilt, George Mikan, just stepping inside the lane and standing there and having a huge advantage. But if you make a play and someone forgets and breaks down defensively, leaves you alone,
why would you leave?
Yeah. And the thing is, the official then, they've given a bad defensive play an advantage back to the defense.
Yeah, I think sometimes a more experienced official, even though it might be 3-2, 3-3, just let it go. I mean, what do you want Joe to do? Run away from the lane? Nobody's guarding him, and he's under the basket.
Correct.
12-point game now for the Warriors. Peeler trying to gun him right back in, taking some bad shots. But he can make those. Not tonight, though. He is at just 6 of 15 from the floor. Beautifully done. They forgot about B.J. Armstrong. And Sprewell did not forget about him. Nice pass.
Yeah, he's getting more skilled. This quarter, he's looking to be a passer when he's up top. He is directing the offense. The ball is going through his hands.
Sprewell with 4 assists this quarter, 7 for the game. Here is Sharif. And they foul Abdur-Rahim hard. Joe Smith and Mullin converging. Foul called on Joe. His first foul of the game.
Sprewell created a little space there and also froze Blue Edwards with his threat to go to the basket. An assist leading to a dunk. And Sprewell has picked up 4 assists in this quarter.
Abdur-Rahim and the Grizzlies hanging around, though. Warrior lead is down to 12. Sharif with 12 tonight. Holding foul right away. Lee Mayberry was upset with himself for allowing B.J. to beat him backdoor so badly in the previous play. He wanted to really pick him up this time. Mayberry, good defensive player, former Milwaukee Buck.
Yeah, never averaged over 5 points a game or less than 4 throughout his career. Just has not ever stepped it up a little bit. I thought he would be a better scorer, having a horrible shooting year.
37%. Mullin able to get inside. The Warriors going backdoor repeatedly on this team. And Sprewell picks up assist number 8. 5 in this quarter. Warriors up 14. Now they have this team a little groggy. One more good belt to the chin and they could open this game up. Peeler gets deep, and he was trying to pull it out. He almost traveled. But they got a foul instead on B.J. Armstrong.
And Peeler will get out of control. I'm not sure there was a foul on the play, and if B.J. hadn't fouled him, I don't think he had a chance to make this basket. Watch him come back and just... Man, I don't know what would have happened.
That was the Gregory Hines post-up move. George Lynch, the other guy they got from L.A. in the Lakers salary jumping this summer, is on the injured list with a strained abdominal muscle. He's been playing well at times this year, Lynch. 12-point Warrior advantage. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to play third quarter from San Jose. Warriors and Grizzlies winding up the season series tonight. This is the third time they have met in the month of January. Sprewell up and in. Oh, what a night for Spree.
He beat two people. He beat his man, the little guy, Anthony Peeler, not so little, but then he beat Big Country, just a little pump shot, and got Country in the air. That's going to be on Smith for fighting inside with Abdur Rahim for that position. Still working hard at the defensive end. You can see this whole sequence trying to get him out of a comfortable position, trying to front there, and here comes the foul.
Stu Jackson is not real decided on whether Abdur Rahim is a small forward or a power forward. That's the luxury he has right now as he looks forward to next year's draft. And keep in mind, Vancouver, by league rules, along with Toronto, will not be allowed to get the very first pick in a player like Tim Duncan, who will likely go number 1. But there are several other good players. Maybe Tim Thomas will come out, only a freshman. Ron Mercer, Keith Van Horn, Danny Fortson out of Cincinnati. So depending on what player he gets, Jim, whether it's a small or a power forward, he can move Abdur Rahim afterwards.
But for Abdur Rahim to play power forward, it's going to be like Joe Smith. He has got to bulk up. He's, to me, a natural 3. I agree. Because he can go on the perimeter. He's smooth with the ball. Warriors weren't smooth with the ball on that sequence. Abdur Rahim is a 3. He could even play 2.
He's so good near the basket.
Yeah, he won't be that good against a Karl Malone, though.
And he has improved his ball handling, and if he improves his outside shot, Jim, you're right, he should be a real devastating small forward scorer who could take advantage of his length against the other small forwards around the league.
Yeah, sometimes, as I said, he'll take it to trouble. That's because he has the ability to get out of trouble. I don't know how he came up with the dunk out of that play.
Joe Smith trying to wrap it around himself, going from left to right under the bucket is fouled. And he'll be on the line. Foul number 3 called on Bryant Reeves. Joe Smith just 2 for 2 from the line before these pair. Warriors now up 11.
Same play a moment ago. Back step. Explosion.
Bimbo Cole's back in. V.J. Armstrong leaves. Jackson and the Grizzlies are just thrilled with Abdur Rahim. He has been better than I think they even thought he was going to be as a player, but as a young man, they have a quality guy that they know is going to put the time in to become better. I mean, really, there's nothing standing in his way if he puts the time in from being a perennial all-star.
I totally agree with you. I think he's just going to be, he's going to be a superstar in this league. That's a travel.
And Anthony Peeler.
Now, Peeler does have 15 points, but I guarantee you, Sprewell is making him work for those.
By and large, if you were to add up the plus-minus for Peeler, he's had a negative impact. He's been a little too wild and just not been efficient enough with his shot selection. But that's the kind of player he is. When he's on, he can carry the whole team. There's a holding foul on Peeler. Sprewell able to beat him off the dribble with ease, like he's able to beat most players around the league. Timeout called by Rick Adelman and the Warriors. 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Warriors by a dozen. Well, if you're a golfer, I know you are into the computer world. They go hand in hand. So every Wednesday night, jump online, get on America Online, type in the keyword Sports Channel, and chat with John Abendroth and Mitch Jurasich in Digital City. They will definitely improve your game. And face it, what do you have to lose? Every Wednesday at 7 o'clock online.
Well, I mentioned Stu Jackson played at the University of Oregon, mid-70s. So did this gentleman, Ernie Kent, head coach of St. Mary's, and they are off to a nice start this year. They've got a guy, sophomore grade, 7'3", goes about 330. Young, up
How
and
big?
7'3".
And how much does he weigh?
He's about 330. Maybe
Wow.
more than that. Maybe more than 330.
Ooh.
Russ Millard.
Russ Millard used to play at Iowa. Obviously not the same guy. Sprewell having a big quarter here.
In fact, some of the Warriors coaches, of course, they practice out at St. Mary's often, and Dave Twardzik has been out there to see Millard, seen a game. This guy, he's going to get better and better. He has improved tremendously from his freshman to sophomore year.
Do you think he'll be a pro?
He has a chance. He has a chance.
He's got the body. I guarantee he'll make somebody's king.
Well, he's getting some attention around the league right now. In fact, I think CBS is coming out to do a little special on him this week.
Foul on Bimbo Coles, his first of the game, fouling Lee Mayberry. After Sprewell's 2 free throws give him 11 in the quarter and 26 for the game. Mayberry brings Vancouver back within 13 at 75-62. Mayberry's going to be leaving shortly, I assume, because Greg Anthony, his backup, is kneeling at the scorer's table. He'll come in next stoppage of play.
Besides that, Mayberry just gets a scoring average.
It's time to leave.
Very nearly.
You can go see Floyd the Barber now. Mullen into Spree. Oh, what a shot by Sprewell. What a game he is having tonight.
Just a little hang time inside.
And you get the impression, Jim, he's looking to give it up tonight, but if he looked to score more, he could go for 40. He's already got 28 on just 15 shots.
Yeah, he's not even looking to score.
What a pass.
See, how often do you see him score without the ball in his hands, away from the ball? See, they're waiting for him to go off the pick by Joe Smith. Anthony Peeler was. So he just took the inside route.
And how many times have you seen the Warriors tonight make a pass right through the heart of Vancouver's lane, either for a backdoor cutter or a guy off a little rush screen down low? I mean, they're just carving the passes right through their gut.
And that's, you set it up that way. If you set it up and execute your offense, you get that rotation out, like Sprewell, can come off that pick, and you execute it properly, then you do get backdoors like that.
Timing.
I love that play. I think it's a perfect play for Sprewell, even if he comes outside the screen to curl in and take it right into the basket after he receives it.
Joe Smith is fouled by Sharif. And Sharif don't like it. That's the second foul of the game.
This is the kind of foul you want to avoid. Now, Joe is capable of making these shots, but he didn't get quite as deep as he would like to put that in with the left hand. And that you saw right there a little glimpse of how Sharif isn't able to body out. I thought he had a chance to keep Joe completely out of the lane. He did allow him to get one step inside.
Joe's 5 for 5. Sprewell's 6 for 6. Spencer's 4 for 4. Donald Royals 4 for 4. Added up. Now Joe's 6 for 6. The Warriors are 20 for 20 from the free throw line.
Against the Lakers, 19 for 27. I'm not sure it would have made a difference anyway.
Under 2 minutes to go, third quarter. Blue Edwards out to Peeler. Peeler, the former Laker, drives down to 3. This guy was a huge collegiate scorer at Missouri. Better than 23 points a game his senior year. He's shown some of it in the pros, but just not a consistent weapon night to night. But if he gets on a roll, he can bring them back himself. Joe spins on Abdul Rahim. Nice play by Joe. Hakeem Olajuwon type move there as he did not go all the way out the other way. Stopped and stayed on the strong side of the rim. 20 points for Joe Smith. Greg Anthony is in. Blank point. There goes Peeler again.
That's a great follow-up by Sharif Abdur-Rahim. And he had control of that ball. He should be on the free throw line. This is a great example of his quickness.
And this is also a great example why there's a little debate, because he can get inside so well and score at power forward, Jim. You don't want a guy that has the inside capabilities he does stepping too far away from the basket.
I think he can play 3 but pick his spots to go inside. He could play a 3 and he'd still eat up that rebound every time. One thing, he's not going to get blocked off the boards from the 3 spot nearly as often as he would from the 4.
Drew Jackson said, you know, you're going to have this debate about him for 10 years. Because he's just a guy who can play both positions, and he will play both throughout his career. He's just a basketball player.
Yeah, he is a basketball player.
Peeler's out. Lawrence Moten is in. 1:10 to go, third quarter. Bimbo Coles down the gut. Nice play by Bimbo. He has struggled offensively the last week or so, but he got that one in.
I would like to see him drive the lane with more consistency and have the mentality to do that. Put the pressure on the defense that way. He's one guy from the backcourt that can.
Trying to get it into Abdur-Rahim. Warriors double him with Mullen. Inside to Moten, wrapped it around, out of bounds, trying to slip it into Big Country Reeves. Lawrence Moten was a round 2 draft pick of the Grizzlies, number 36 overall in '95.
Big score from Syracuse. We got a glimpse of Stu Jackson. He doesn't get real excited. His demeanor is very low-key. Definitely would not compare him to Doug Collins.
Shot clock down. Joe fires. Warriors now with a 15-point lead, their largest of the evening. And that's the way you want to close out the third quarter if you're Rick Adelman. Greg Anthony off a pick from Sharif. They have the switch they want. Sharif wants to post Coles, but the Warriors congested. Out to Moten. Rebound at the horn to Joe Smith. Very productive third quarter for Rick Adelman's Warriors. They were up 6 at half, and now they lead by 15 as we head to the final 12 minutes of play. Here's our Discover Card NBA Notebook note for tonight. Latrell Sprewell with a dominating month of January. And he has pushed his overall scoring average now to 25.8 points per game. That's why it's tough to make the All-Star team in the NBA, Jim. Neither one of us put Glenn Rice on the All-Star team, and he leads this league in scoring in January.
That's what I'm saying. He's number 7 overall in the league. He's also number 8 in three-point field goal percentage at 43, and it's real tough to leave him off that list.
I think it's tougher to make the Eastern Conference team this year than it is the Western Conference. Of Glenn Rice, Anthony Mason, Chris Webber, one of those guys is not going to go. But Latrell Sprewell will be going, not just scoring tonight and shooting the ball effectively. He's 6 of 6 line. He's also dished off another high assist total tonight, 9, and he's pulled 4 rebounds. Hey, what's Mullen doing up there? We got a problem here. Get Mullen down. Oh, he's on the floor. 2 Mullins.
What's amazing about Sprewell, and he's averaging over 6 assists a game already. He's right behind Terrell Brandon, who's the point guard for Cleveland, albeit a very good shooting point guard.
Offensive foul on Joe Smith. Adelman's not happy with this. Neither is Joe. Setting a pick on the wing. They're going to change it now. The foul's on Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Yeah, that did not look like it was going to go that way for long. Abdur-Rahim picks up the foul, his 3rd of the game. Check it out.
All right.
Who's fouling whom? Well, he stumbled. Better let it go, huh?
But Joe got pushed into the screen. I still think the guy with the ball has to wait until the screen gets set. There isn't a big hurry.
Jimbo Cole. It looks like a lot of offensive players a little too anxious to do that. And Rick Adelman agrees. Four fouls on Brian Reeves. What's the coach saying? You guys are having a conversation. Every day in practice they tell him to wait.
They're talking about that. Same thing, exactly. You know, another thing about Bimbo, if you notice on that last play, and he made one a moment ago, but he also got one blocked in the first half. When he goes to the basket, and he comes to that 2-foot power plant, it does give the defense time to recover. It gives you a little more strength going up, but you do lose your advantage going to the basket and the quickness that got you there.
That missed free throw by Bimbo, the Warriors' first miss of the game from the line. They had made 21 in a row. Still up 16 points. C.J. Armstrong, Bimbo Coles playing together here. Sprewell rests. Early fourth quarter. Here's Joe Crowder. Back comes Lawrence Moten quickly for a basket before the Warriors could retreat defensively. And that'll turn things around a bit. The Warriors lead down to 14, 1 minute into the fourth quarter. Warriors playing a Mullen, Smith, and Spencer front line. Here's Coles. Oh, he's going to the bucket aggressively now.
Yeah, now that's the finish I'm talking about. He went off 1 foot. You don't always need to come to that 2-foot power plant. I like it better if he can just extend. That was a nice drive, a nice finish.
Bimble's had 2 nice baskets in the second half tonight. Moten open, gave up a 3. And now they get one for Blue Edwards. Lawrence Moten was wide open, tried to feed it into Big Country. Anthony takes it away in the backcourt, and the pushing foul will transpire on Felton Spencer trying to get it back. Felton's 4th foul of the game.
Well, Bimbo was going the other way, trying to get out on a break, and Felton Spencer just didn't see him coming. Now here is what I call that little power move, and I think he could have gone off 1 foot and gone right past the defender of Country Reeves. Here he does go off 1 foot and finishes with the left. I like that move a lot better because it's tougher to defend. The other one, the defender can be out of position and gives you time to recover.
Bimbo Coles jumping into Greg Anthony, trying to take away the pass by Abdul Rahim, picks up his 2nd foul. Warriors are in the position to blow this game open right here. Up 16 on Stu Jackson's Grizzlies early in the 4th quarter. But if the Grizzlies make a run, they could make this a tense 4th quarter. Here's Lawrence Moten. It's obvious Stu Jackson wants to look at him very closely the second half of the year and find out if Moten can play. And why not?
And he loves to shoot along the baseline.
And a double Joe at the rim. He still scores. Over both Sharif Abdul-Rahim and Blue Edwards.
He can get up quickly, can he, and have a soft release. I think that's a tough shot.
Edwards knocks it down a long 2. You know, there's an outside chance that Joe Smith could make the All-Star team. It is not likely, but he's going to be a borderline player. His numbers are going to be good enough to have him certainly considered by the Western coaches.
What's going to hurt him is the team's record.
Abdul Rahim is fouled.
You saw that last pass by Moten. He got it into Big Country. You saw him pass up a shot a moment ago. He's trying to do the right things and be more of a complete player than the one-dimensional scorer that he's always been tagged with. He's listening to Stu. You're right. Stu is going to evaluate him.
You look at Jackson's draft in the 2 years he has run this franchise. He got, of course, Abdul Rahim, number 1 this year, 3rd overall pick. Roy Rogers, he got number 22 out of Sprewell's alma mater, Alabama. Also, Chris Robinson, he got in the 2nd round, 51st pick. He's on the roster, and I've not seen him play yet, but they say he can play a little bit.
He's a pretty good defender and not a bad three-point shooter.
95, Jim, they got Reeves and Lawrence Moten. That's not bad.
They're not bad.
5 pretty decent picks. All that with the obstacle, of course, of not being allowed to have the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. They will not be allowed to have it this summer.
I mean, the Warriors would be a very different team with Bryant Reeves on as a center. And they're hoping that
Sprewell's going to get 3 free throws here, fouled by Blue Edwards, again attempting a 3-pointer. Here is Chris Robinson, just talking about him. He's going to check into the game. Rookie out of Western Kentucky, who they tabbed with the 51st overall pick this past offseason. And now we'll be able to find out if he can play. 29 for Sprewell. He has had very few down games this year. 30 for Sprewell. He and Sean Kemp lead the NBA slightly ahead of Michael Jordan. Sprewell at the line tonight has made all 8 of his free throws. The hat trick for Sprewell, and the Warriors have a 16-point lead again. 3 minutes into the 4th quarter. Warriors need this game desperately. Wednesday, Seattle will be here. Friday, the Chicago Bulls will be here. Abdul Rahim's played the entire second half so far. He has 23 points, and you wouldn't notice. He is such a smooth scorer.
Robinson working hard, trying to overplay Sprewell.
Gets help from Reeves. Joe Smith, good look into Coles. Nice play by Joe Smith. His first assist of the game.
See, now Sprewell forced Reeves to come way out and extend on the court, and that just, the play continued and opened up for Bimbo underneath.
Todd Fuller's in now against Reeves. And Reeves scores right over the Warriors' first-round draft pick. Bryant Reeves with just 7 points. And he has hurt the Warriors this year coming into play. The 3 previous matchups, he had averaged 17. Another beautiful pass by Sprewell, his 10th assist. Was that Coles? Pardon me, it was Coles.
How many times, BJ, in the second half have we seen a Warrior score from that side of the court?
Oh, Sprewell. Between his legs, little chancy, but he's having fun. Abdur-Rahim lucks it. Allen won't like that. Sprewell wanted that 10th assist. Reeves gives it up.
Well, if they hit this 3 right here, Rick won't like it.
He got away with it that time. Sprewell don't do it again, though. That was the Jim Otto pass. Shot clock at 12. They're going to clear it out for Joe Smith. They don't double him, but they do late, knock it away, but they foul Joe.
Now, a moment ago, B.J. Armstrong's going to set a pick. Now, here's Moten, who got completely lost on the play. But watch the defender go out, and you'll see B.J. just continue inside. You can see how this is all set up. He just gives kind of a brush pick and just rolls to the hoop because no defender was on B.J. Timeout called. Warriors lead by 16, 7:09 to play. August 31st of 1992, who'll forget that? All of a sudden, Lance Blankenship steps into the batter's box. Where's Jose? On his way to Texas. But things have changed, certainly, since that August night of 92. Jose has matured, and once again, he's going to reunite with Mark McGuire, and along with the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago White Sox, undeniably, the Oakland A's will have baseball's most interesting and power-packed lineup. It's going to hurt to lose Bordick and Steinbach, but the A's will try to make it up with the Bash brothers. That'll be very interesting, and it's going to give both those guys some great opportunities. You can't put them all on base.
Tell you what, if I was the opponents, I would not want to start a left-hander against the Oakland A's. You forget about Geronimo Baroa, 100 RBIs last year. Of course, Jason Giambi on the left side.
They've got some sluggers.
It remains to be seen how the A's will set it up for them. They're still light a leadoff guy. I guess Tony Batista will go to camp as the leadoff guy and shortstop. But, boy, the Oakland A's are going to be fun.
Bimbo's had a terrific second half. He's just really taken the defense apart and penetrated and opened so many things. He's gotten aggressive. I said that before. He's one guy that can break down the defense and take it to the rim.
Bimbo was a good high school baseball player. Was actually drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies as an outfielder. Was an All-American high school defensive back. One of the athletes.
Chris Robinson out on the floor right now as a rookie. Thought he was going to be a baseball player when he grew up. He was out of bounds as he picked up the ball.
Well, he has a long, lean body, Robinson. 6 feet, 5 inches tall, goes 200 pounds. Been on the injured list a couple of times with hamstring tendonitis. Whether or not it was legit is debatable. That's the old, we'll hide a guy. Backdoor Coles. Boy, they hit him right through the lane. The Warriors are carving up this team with passing out of the half court like I've not seen all year.
So many individual defenders just turn their head and don't have vision on their man.
Bryant Reeves dunks in the Abdur-Rahim miss. 9 for Reeves. Warriors up 101-83. A moment ago when they got the basket, they took a 20-point lead for the first time tonight. Fuller blocked by Big Country Reeves in a battle of the flat tops tonight.
This is a great play. First of all, you've got 2 people isolated on the weak side, so everybody is high. Now the ball's in Sprewell's hands. Bimbo's going to work off Joe Smith and go on the right side of the screen. Defense goes short side, which is good. But watch when he gets right here, he turns toward Bimbo and doesn't open up to the ball. If he reverse pivots Greg Anthony, and sees the ball. He tried to, but it was too late. And that's why you've got to open up and see the ball through there. That's perfectly executed. If you have that much room, it makes it very, very difficult. It'll also help if Joe Smith's man bumps Bimbo as he goes through the lane.
Todd Fuller missed the first free throw, made the second. Sprewell to steal, and he's fouled by Lee Mayberry. Good idea for Mayberry to foul him. Well, he was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, he wasn't going to stop and throw it between his legs on this one.
Watch the speed. Just watch this guy.
Watch the recovery.
Oh, man.
Now, did you see the bump as Peeler was trying to get open? See, that allowed Sprewell to recover. That's what I was talking about a moment ago with the Grizzlies don't do at the other end.
He's unbelievable. Because Sprewell, if you gave him the basketball and put any other guy in the NBA next to him without the ball, how many guys could he beat with the ball from end line to end line, just running with the ball? He would beat a very high percentage.
I would say probably about 90%.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
104 to 83. Sprewell, 33 points, 10 assists.
He did that. He might not have control of the basketball at the end. He might be running up to it.
I didn't say he'd wind up with it on the baseline, but if you gave it to him to start,
Yeah.
he'd get there with it. Reeves out of the corner. Abdul Rahim got pushed in the back. Protected by Bob Delaney up near midcourt, fouled on BJ. Pete Chilcott, who played very well in Vancouver's second quarter, is going to return here for the fourth quarter. Maybe too late now. He'll take out Sharif. Vancouver, they have a big game tomorrow night. They're going to be home for the Chicago Bulls. They want to be well rested. Abdul Rahim will have to battle Scottie Pippen tomorrow night. That would be a good matchup. I'd like to see that one. Robinson, no. Rebound tipped over to Joe Smith. Here comes Bimbo Coles looking around. Oh, behind his back, he found Joe. What a pass.
Wondering what he was looking at. He was peeking over his shoulder. What are you looking at?
He knew what he was looking at.
Yeah, he had it sized the entire way.
Now, Fuller was grabbing the jersey of Shaq's.
Yeah,
on Friday, and understandable, he's grabbing Bryant Reeves' jersey here, Jim.
Just a nice play by Bimbo Coles. And Robinson couldn't defend that. Yeah, see, he's waiting. Watch him just slow a little bit here. Nice little drop back pass. And back to the jersey pulling. Yeah, I was surprised. I hope that doesn't become a habit with Todd Fuller. It's going to be tough to play defense that way, pulling the jersey. It's going to be pretty easy to detect from the officials.
Bryant Reeves get a little trim today at the buzz cut set up at Schroeder's hand. He looks good. Well coiffed.
Oh.
What'd you do, hurt your knee?
Hurt my knee, sorry.
We have a 20-second timeout for Jim. Put banging on the table. Sprewell a three. Rebound to Reeves. 4.5 to play. We've got tomorrow off to heal, Jim, before back to work on Wednesday for Seattle. Anthony Peeler drives home a three-pointer. Anthony Peeler with a 21-point game. 7 turnovers also. A little wild. Joe Smith playing out. Heavy minutes for Joe tonight. Shot clock down to 7. Into Fuller, going to try to work on Reeves.
I thought he didn't need the dribble because he was deep enough. I thought he was just going to take a little sweeping hook shot. That's a different kind of finish.
He made it. Good opportunity for Rick to play Todd here, just to try to get him,
yes,
a little more under control. Minutes have been hard to come by for the rookie, and when he has played, it's been with a sense of urgency that has caused him to make moves like this. Although he didn't make the shot, it was not a very smooth release. Young man is going to get better. Keep in mind, he's a freshman in high school in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was not very good, and by the time he was a senior, he had schools from the ACC knocking on his door, and he was not very good as a freshman at North Carolina State. Jim, by the time he was a senior, he was a first-round draft pick in the NBA.
He knows his limitations. He's a hard worker. doesn't try to do too much. And he's also confident that he will get better. Jimbo's very aggressive tonight. So is this guy.
Joe Smith picks up a foul on Pete Chilcutt. Latrell Sprewell is going to be leaving the game. Lawrence Moten is going to check in here for the last 3.5. Sprewell, 33 points, 11 assists. Really racking up the assist totals of late with the Mark Price injury. Adelman has given him the team to run. Even when BJ's been out there, Sprewell's been really the point guard.
I tell you what a shooting second half the Warriors have had. Greg, in the third quarter, they were 12 for 15 from the field. They started this quarter, I know at one point they were 4 for 4. And they've gotten it up to 55%. They've really gotten good shots and gotten a lot of layups. I really like the way the half-court offense is run. And the Grizzlies, this is a very poor defensive team.
Warriors scored 33 points in the third quarter, and they have already scored 35. Or 25, pardon me, 25 here in the fourth quarter. 25 with 3 minutes to play. Lee Mayberry drives home a three. 110-93. The Warriors going to lay. Loss number 37 on the Grizzlies. No fall to 8 and 37. They've lost now 5 in a row and 15 of 17. Joe Smith fouled inside. Fouled by Eric Mobley. Joe will be on the line trying to hit 30 points when we come back. In the second half of this game tonight, the Warriors have hit 19 of 23 shots from the floor. That's 83%. They may want to bottle it. It is not going to be as easy the next two nights, as arguably the two best defensive teams in the NBA will be in the San Jose Arena. Wednesday, the Sonics. Friday, the Bulls. And the Warriors will be in LA again this weekend for a date with the Clippers. They'll wind up the first half of the season Tuesday night, February 4th, against the Atlanta Hawks.
You know what I think is impressive about the Bulls? Not only do they lead the league in scoring, but they are the least turnover-prone team in the league. And that's pretty incredible.
Well, they're a veteran team that has been together the last couple of years, and they know that triangle offense of Tex Winter so well. Joe Smith, 28 points tonight, 12 rebounds, looking to get these two free throws down for another 30-point game. Halfway there with that free throw. 19 of 23, Jim. 83% in this half.
Well, they've had a lot of layups, and a lot of them have been uncontested in the half-court offense, which we haven't seen all year long. Some of those backdoor plays. And guys executing and setting screens down low and then just rolling to the basket. And it was mostly the guards underneath. And Sprewell's did a magnificent job from the floor with his ball handle.
Warriors with 17 assists on those 19 baskets in this half. They were talking to Rick Adelman before the game about the offensive inconsistency. Boy, we saw it tonight in the second quarter. They were really struggling offensively in the second half, though. It's been a beautiful show. 24-second violation on the Grizzlies. Joe Smith's going to take a bow here as Stu Jackson wonders why he ever took this job to begin with. And he has no desire whatsoever to ever coach in the NBA. Sounds like, again, if he can keep the job he has, running a team in the front office.
He says he would like to just take this team in a different direction and lead them administratively.
Still time to take advantage of the Warriors 5-pack. 5 games for just $100. You can choose all weekend packages or one that features Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So if you want to come down Friday to check out Michael and the Bulls, the 5-pack's the way to go. 986-2222 to get your Warriors 5-pack. Joe Smith is out of the game, joining Mullen and Sprewell. Joe 30 points, Spree 33. Mullen, a quiet second half, just got one basket, winds up with 10 points. Danielle, the jump hook, Chilcutt right back out to Andrew DeClerc, who's in the game for the first time here late. Also, Lou Rowe is in. Marshall, no, but he's fouled. Pete Chilcote, leading the NBA in hair products. Don't see guys take the court that moosed up. Getting ready for his coaching career, huh? What a free throw show. Warriors offensively have just been efficient. 54% total shooting in the game with a staggering second half totals, Jim. They've passed the ball well. They've made virtually all their free throws.
Yeah, they only shot 42% the first half, but they were perfect from the line. Danielle gets them up and in. So it'll be 35 for 37. Save some of this. You're going to need it Wednesday.
A little different.
Yep.
Opponents coming in.
We'll see how that half-court offense flows against Seattle. I'd like to see him ready for that.
Armstrong thought about giving it to Lou Rowe on the bounce, but backed away. Now Rowe going to try to go. Nice drive, but he missed the shot. Lawrence Moten fumbling it, but retaining the possession. Chris Robinson misses. Rebound tip by Chilcote over to Fuller. Daniel Marshall lost it. Can he pick it up? Yeah. Andrew DeClerc. This is definitely the NBA's version of garbage time. And Lou Rowe knocks down a three-pointer for Lou Rowe. That is his first three-pointer with the Warriors.
I like Lou Rowe.
You're wondering, he did make 2 3-pointers last year with Detroit.
Yeah, he works hard in practice.
I thought he would have a bigger impact on the season this year, Rowe, but he's just been the 13th guy in a 12-man roster, but he can defend. Getting some shots inside, a little too strong. Thought he was fouled on that last one.
Oh, he was fouled. The officials just waiting for this game to get over.
This is swallow your whistle time.
Yeah, that's what you learn as a young player, that if you're in this kind of game right here, sometimes you just stop and take the shot rather than take it in, because if you get fouled, it doesn't get called that often.
Whoa. Are they pumped?
It's good to see them have fun. I like it.
Robinson answers back after Andrew DeClerc's loudest set down in the NBA. Marshall, a three. 122 for the Warriors tonight. 6 off their season high. It'll be the Warriors' 17th victory of the year. They're now 17-25, 10-11 here in San Jose. And the Grizzlies will fall to an NBA worst 8-37.
That season high in Philadelphia when they had 128.
Yes, sir.
Those are the 2 worst defensive performances I've seen this year. Philadelphia and tonight Vancouver. I think Philadelphia was worse.
Warriors will take both. Sprewell goes for 33. Joe Smith, 30. Warriors 17-25 overall. Spree and Joe had the big point total, but it was Andrew DeClerc that really raised the roof tonight.